The following program contains political discourse, opinions, and footage that many viewers may find offensive. It should not be viewed by anyone ever.
Oh, hell no! Hell to the no, to the no, no, no, no. Hell no, no, to the no, no. Hell to the no, no, to the no, no, no, no. Hell to the no.
You want to tell me what this is all about?
As I fight through the battle with the party of death, I take a look at our right and realize they're barely left, cause they've been commies and tyrants so long that even Joe Biden knows it and his mind is gone. But I ain't never gonna stop cause we didn't deserve it. They even took some shots, but you know what I'm made of. They monitor your speech and they track your movements. You better watch your thoughts in case they disapprove it. I really hate to trip, but I gotta low. Psycho woke, I ducked the bullets and the pistol smoke. Fool, I'm the kind of G the little homies wanna be like, on my feet, yelling fight, taking shots from the scope side. We've been spending most our lives living in the tyrant's paradise. We've been spending most our lives living in the tyrant's paradise.
Watching Check the News for an October surprise. This live broadcast is also a surprise to many of us because we didn't know what was going to be unfolding this morning. But the title is October Surprise, Iran, Israel, and Bible Prophecy. We just got off a live on X Spaces with Pastor Jonathan. So if you haven't tuned in, you can re-watch or re-listen to it on X. Let's get started. We've got plenty of things to cover today. Is this going to be World War III? Is this the beginning of World War III? Or is this just more geopolitics? Let's find out. Play. Next. There he goes. Now, this was 1 day ago. So this is September 30th. The people of Iran should know Israel stands with you. So did Bibi know something was imminent? Let's take a look. Play.
I speak a lot about the leaders of Iran. Yet at this pivotal moment, I want to address you, the people of Iran. I want to do so directly, without filters, without middlemen. Every day, you see a regime that subjugates you, make fiery speeches about defending Lebanon, defending Gaza. Yet every day, that regime plunges our region deeper into darkness and deeper into war. Every day, their puppets are eliminated. Ask Muhammad Def. Ask Nasrallah. There is nowhere in the Middle East Israel cannot reach. There's nowhere we will not go to protect our people and protect our country. With every passing moment, the regime is bringing you, the noble Persian people, closer to the abyss. The vast majority of Iranians know their regime doesn't care a whit about them. If it did care, if it cared about you, it would stop wasting billions of dollars on futile wars across the Middle East. It would start improving your lives. Imagine if all the vast money the regime wasted on nuclear weapons and foreign wars were invested in your children's education and improving your health care, in building your nation's infrastructure, water, sewage, all the other things that you need. Imagine that. But you know one simple thing. Iran's tyrants don't care about your future, but you do. When Iran is finally free, and that moment will come a lot sooner than people think, everything will be different. Our two ancient peoples, the Jewish people and the Persian people, will finally be at peace. Our two countries, Israel and Iran, will be at peace. When that day comes,
we'll be long gone
the
here.
terror network that the regime built in 5 continents will be bankrupt, dismantled. Iran will thrive as never before. Global investment, massive tourism, brilliant technological innovation based on the tremendous talents that exist inside Iran. Doesn't that sound better than endless poverty, repression, and war? From Qom to Isfahan, from Shiraz to Tabriz, there are tens of millions of good and decent people with thousands of years of history behind them and a brilliant future ahead of them. Don't let a small group of fanatic theocrats crush your hopes and your dreams. You deserve better. Your children deserve better. The entire world deserves better. I know you don't support the rapists and murderers of Hamas and Hezbollah, but your leaders do. You deserve more. The people of Iran should know Israel stands with you. May we together know a future of prosperity and peace.
Wow. That was heavy. That was heavy on so many different levels. And I'm sure if you've been following this ministry for any amount of time, Bible prophecy, we are in the middle, the right smack dab in the middle of what I feel and Brother Jonathan feels like is we're in the end times, right? Amen. But this is more of a message to the Iranian people. And you have to wonder now, in light of the strikes that just happened, was this a message in advance, like a preemptive kind of thing for the war that's about to be waged? Who knows? We'll see. I know Polymarket we're keeping an eye on Polymarket to see what people are thinking and what they're putting their money on as far as odds. And they're saying that Israel is going to be striking 23% at this point. And it is 2:40 p.m. October 1st. And so there's a 27% chance, according to Polymarket, that Israel will strike before the end of the week. Next. Thanks for watching. You're watching Check the News if you just tuned in. October is going to be full of surprises. Now, we kind of sort of knew that, but did I expect this? Absolutely not. Breaking, all Israel's civilians have been ordered to go inside bomb shelters as rockets from Iran were just fired at Israel. So that's where the alert is coming from. And of course, Laura Loomer, she's not necessarily my cup of tea. I think she's a little rude, but she is a Jew, and she posts things that nobody will. So I like to follow her account, especially for sensitive times like this. Next. There it is. There's 27% chance Israel declares war on Israel or on Iran this month. And that looks like that little ticker is going up. Next. Interesting. Breaking. There's an ongoing mass shooting in Tel Aviv. So this mass shooting, where I wanted to try to get the timing right, because even within the past 30 minutes, a lot of things have been unfolding. Before the strike occurred, there was two shooters that were walking through Tel Aviv and just taking people out. Now, if you have children around, this is sensitive content that we're going to be covering. So beware. Play. One, two, three, four casualties just there. So initially, when we were watching that, we were thinking, oh my goodness, there's boots on the ground. Now this is something that we've never seen in Tel Aviv. And so it looks like now one of those shooters has been killed. And it also feels and looks like they were just emboldened by the imminent attack from Iran. So I'm not quite sure if there's any correlation. Again, more to follow. Next. Breaking, Kamala Harris says she suffered from insomnia after Biden endorsed her and that she was deep sleep deprived the morning she chose her running mate, Tim Walz. This is coming from the Leading Report. Now we're going to try to figure out when she actually said this. Femina, can you try to look into this, please, for me? This is absolutely embarrassing. Okay, so this is just yesterday. His debate is tonight. And so the timing of this couldn't get any more disastrous. It feels like they're already setting themselves up for failure as far as this debate is concerned tonight. It feels like it's going to be a bloodbath. Next. All right, here we go. More than 100 missiles from Iran fired into Israel. Play.
We are now in Israel. This is from my house.
Dude.
Have to see what's happened here. 102 rockets is coming from Iran. The crazy military rockets. We have to see. This is from my house. What's happened. All the world have to see what's happened in our sky now in Israel. This is crazy attack from Iran.
the Iron Dome was taking out quite a bit of those missiles. Initially, it was reported that there was a bunch of them striking and that the Iron Dome wasn't able to repel most of them. But if you're looking at the footage, it looks like the Iron Dome is taking good care of it. 110 missiles. Dude.
וואו, הכל פה מעלינו.
Next. Next. Got a lot of, oh, go back. So this is, again, the shooters that, one of which was, can we go back? Was killed. Breaking a mass shooting with 2 gunmen is currently taking place in Tel Aviv at the Jaffa border with several casualties, reported Israeli police says it's an Islamic terrorist attack. The shooting began as soon as Iran started firing missiles into Israel again. So it feels like, or it looks like this is something that had emboldened 2 complete psychopaths. Play. So that's one of the shooters. He's dead. Interesting. Not before killing. I believe they killed 4 people. Next. No. Watch last year, President Trump, the last hope this country has. President Trump warned us of what would happen if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris weren't removed from office. Play.
And I'm the only person that can say this. I will stop World War III, and we're very close to having World War III. But all of that was only the beginning. Here are some of the rather bold agenda items that I will immediately implement when we become the 47th President of the United States. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, shortly after I win the presidency, I will have the war between Russia and Ukraine settled. I'll do it in 24 hours. It's not tough to do. That's easy compared to a lot of things.
This is quite alarming for this month of October. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better setup for Trump. So you have the hurricane, which this administration has failed at. I believe Trump gave $25 million of his own money towards efforts there. Then we have World War III unfolding before our very eyes. And then there is a union strike that could be this administration's literally the worst thing to happen to this administration, especially the timing of it is just very interesting. We're going to cover a little bit more of that on the show. If you haven't shared this broadcast, please do so now. Share it with all of your liberal friends because they need to be reminded of what a disaster Kamala is, what a disaster Biden is, and what a disaster this whole entire administration has been. Play. There we go. Kamala Harris says insomnia hit after, so it is true. Holy cannoli. New York Post is Kamala Harris says insomnia hit after Biden dropped out, was sleep deprived. The day Walt's pick. This is so flippin' embarrassing for her. And again, it feels like this is almost preemptive, okay? So you have the debate happening tonight, assuming that it even takes place at this point. And so it feels like this is preemptive. Like, listen, I was sleep deprived even before you hear him talk against J.D. Vance, okay? Against literally this, I mean, it's going to be a bloodbath. All right, let's read it. Vice President Kamala Harris revealed Monday that she suffered from insomnia after President Biden endorsed her as his successor. forced friggin' endorsement. And she was asleep deprived the morning she picked her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. What a darned fool this lady is. Harris, 59, told All the Smoke hosts Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson that she made her gut decision to select Walz after being unable to sleep much the night before, waking up early that Tuesday in Washington and using cooking to calm her down. From the time that the president called me and told me he wasn't running, I mean, it's just like everything was speedy motion, and I was not sleeping so well, Harris told the basketball stars who both played for the Harris-supported Golden State Warriors. And that one morning, I had, I don't know, a few hours of sleep, and I like to sleep. I just got up, she said. I was like, this is so difficult to read. This is so difficult to read. This is who you want at the helm of this country as we step into World War III. No thanks. Next, pork roast. In 2020, Joe Biden said President Trump would get us into a war with Iran. 4 years later, the Biden-Harris has us on the verge of World War III. This video hasn't aged very well. Play.
The world has changed because of what Trump has done. And the American people, including independents and some Republicans, know how bad he is, know how much he's misrepresented, know how he's getting close to getting us in a war. I said, as the walls close in on this man, I'm worried he's going to get us to war in Iran. Unfortunately, I may have been right. The fact of the matter is there's a lot at stake in this election.
Listen, if you guys are watching CTN and you guys are concerned, if you are you're maybe starting the anxiety pangs of 2020, this is an eerie, familiar feeling. Continue to watch. There's hope for us here, all right, ladies and gentlemen. We aren't about spewing just negative news here on Check the News. We're going to turn it around, I promise you. So stay tuned. There's hope in the horizon, okay? Not all of this. I know that this all looks like bad news, but it feels like this is something bad news masked as something pretty good. Next. All right, Iran launches ballistic missiles attack on Israel. Civilians ordered into bombshells. Next. Now, of course, if you don't know the premise of the show, we isolate tweets from the day, and then we cover them and we read them all together, okay? So I know that a lot of this is kind of redundant, but as they were coming up on my feed, I was just kind of like bookmarking them. Book. Iran and Israel are about to go to war, and nobody has any idea who the sitting U.S. president is. Wild times. Next. Cheryl E. She's living in Israel, Tel Aviv at the time. Or right now. The whole of Israel has been ordered to go to shelters. This is not a drill. Iran has now fired the first barrage of missiles, which are on their way. Ballistic missiles are on their way. I'm taking the kids downstairs. See you all when this is over. Next. Iran's leadership will soon be gone. Facts. Scott Adams. Next. All right, breaking Iran. Former President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. Play.
İran'da 18 Haziran'da yapılacak olan Cumhurbaşkanlığı seçimleri öncesinde adaylığı reddedilen Mahmut...
I thought this was in English. Iran's Secret Service has, listen to this. This is now September 30th. Iran's Secret Service had established a unit to target Mossad agents within Iran, because there's plenty of them, let me tell you. No one is safe in Iran. However, the head of this unit turned out to be a Mossad operative himself, along with 20 other agents. You can't make it up. Next. Scary. Breaking, multiple impacts reported after Iran fires missiles at Israel. Military spokesman Rear Administration Daniel Hagari is telling the public to obey safety guidelines issued by the military's Home Front Command. Quote, the Iranian strike could be widespread. Following Home Front Command guidelines can save lives. End quote, Hagari said. Play.
Oh, God. Okay, guys, we got to get off the roof. These are coming down right next to us.
All right, so there. It looks like not all of them were.
They're coming down.
Ordered by the Iron Dome.
We got to go inside. On the ground, it's like a deadly fireworks display over Tel Aviv. Goodness,
Fireworks,
there was an
dude, they're missiles.
Left of us here.
Next. Iran is about to lose their entire nuclear program. You would think. Maybe not under the Harris administration. but definitely under Trump. Next. Cowardly attack by terrorists on innocent, unarmed civilians in Tel Aviv is highly condemnable. We Indians morally, stand in full support with Israel on its right to self-defense against terrorists. So again, it looks like the guy to the left was the one that was killed. Play the video. I think we've already seen this video. We have. Next. The missiles hitting Israel right now are the same ones Biden and Harris worked to lift UN sanctions on the first month he took office. They said it would help promote diplomacy within Iran. Where diplomacy D's nuts. Play. There's your diplomacy. Disastrous. Next. Chaos is everywhere. There's just been a mass shooting in Tel Aviv. Israel is what appears to be a horrific terror attack. Iran has just launched a ballistic missile attack against Israel. Half the port of the country are closed. White House is doing a live press conference. Do you want to jump into it? Yeah, let's jump into the live press conference. Half the ports in the country are closed in longshoremen strike, costing Americans billions every day. North Carolina is still underwater with a death toll of over 130 and hundreds more still missing. October is full of surprises, and it's just day one. Next. There's the headlines there. Breaking the Islamic regime, which is, it's good that they, you gotta do that. It's Iran, and it's being led by an Islamic regime. Like when we talked about, like when we opened the video with Bibi Netanyahu talking about to the people of Iran in the 70s, look up Iran in the 70s. It was a thriving nation before it came under Islamic regime. Is now attacking Israel cities with missiles. It's time to end this evil regime. Next. Recap. Iran-backed Hezbollah attacked Israel on October 8th, firing 10,000 rockets since then. Hezbollah's assaults expelled 70,000 Israelis from their homes. UN did 0. Now, this is when, if you were on Spaces, we were talking about how the narrative with the UN used to be, a party of peace. And so it was, everybody looked at the UN as like the saviors of the world. And now, here recently, it's looking like people are coming against the UN, which I'd never seen before on X. Israel is finally reporting to push Hezbollah away from the border. Minutes ago, Iran just attacked Israel. Next. This we have, if you want to enlarge it so I can read it, revealed Israeli special forces have been working for months to uncover and destroy tunnels and other underground infrastructures near the Lebanon-Israel border that Hezbollah intended to use in order to infiltrate Israel and carry out their massive October 7th style attack. Now, there was... So the IDF uncovered, and we'll get to the video, hopefully it'll be in English, but they had uncovered that that Hezbollah was planning another October 7th style attack. And they preemptively went in and found these, these undercover infrastructures and cleaned them out. As in Gaza, many of these facilities were located within and under homes and other civilian areas, which is indicative of these terrorist groups. The soldiers also seized massive amounts of weaponry, including more than 30 tons of explosive, missiles, launchers, rocket-propelled grenades, and mortars. The weapons were largely manufactured in Russia, China, and Iran. So Gog, Magog, we're talking about the Bible prophecy. Those are your three. Next. It's time to say goodbye to the Islamic occupiers of Iran. This is our IRGC's final countdown. Iran will soon be free. Next. The whole of Israel has been ordered to go into shelter. Next. We already read that. I think I isolated it twice. Not your fault, mine. Next. Remember when the libturds said it was Donald Trump that was going to take us into the World War III? Nope, it really was Joe Biden and Kamala Harris the entire time. Next. All right, so now moving on, changing. So we talked about, we haven't talked anything about the hurricane, and they're in dire straits at this point in North Carolina. We've got war in Israel. Now this. And I want you to pay really, really close attention to this, because this is going to probably impact you within 2 weeks. If they remain on strike for the next, let's say, till election, you're going to start seeing some of those prices. Any imports from China and so on, this is going to affect you, okay? Over 45,000 port workers are now on strike from Maine all the way down to Texas. And so the head of the ILA is going to be, you're going to hear from him in a minute. Now, before we go into, oh no, prices are going to go sky high, et cetera, is this strategically planned? That's the question that I would like to kind of pose to you even before we get into it. Is this something that is going to work for the benefit of the Trump campaign? And I think overwhelmingly, after you watch a couple of this content that we're going to cover, the answer is yes. Play.
These people today don't know what a strike is.
Right.
When my men hit the streets, from Maine to Texas, every single port are locked down. You know what's going to happen? I'll tell you. First week, be all over the news every night, boom, boom. Second week, guys who sell cars can't sell cars because the cars ain't coming in off the ships. They get laid off. Third week, malls start closing down. They can't get the goods from China. They can't sell clothes. They can't do this. Everything in the United States comes on a ship. They go out of business. Construction workers get laid off because the materials aren't coming in. The steel's not coming in. The lumber's not coming in. They lose their job. Everybody's hating the longshoremen now because now they realize how important our jobs are. Now I have the president screaming at me, I'm putting a Taft-Hartley on you. Go ahead. Taft-Hartley means I have to go back to work for 90 days. That's a cooling off period. Do you think when I go back for 90 days, those men are going to go to work on that pier? It's going to cost the company's money to pay their salaries. Well, they went from 30 moves an hour maybe to 8. They're going to be like this. Who's going to win here in the long run? You're better off sitting down and let's get a contract and let's move on with this world. And in today's world, I'll cripple you. I will cripple you, and you have no idea what that means. Nobody does.
We're about to find out next. Timing of this strike is dasting. ILA President Daggett enjoys a long relationship with Donald Trump going back decades in New York City. Both Trump and Daggett are the same age and were both from Queens, New York. In late November 2023, former President Trump invited the ILA president to meet with him in Florida, Mar-a-Lago. Quote, we had a wonderful, productive 90 minutes meeting where I expressed to the President Trump the threat of automation to American workers, said ILA President Harold Daggett. President Trump promised to support the ILA in its opposition to automated terminals in the U.S. Mr. Trump also listened to my concerns about federal right-to-work laws, which undermines unions and their ability to represent and fight for its membership. So, interesting. Next. Breaking. Kamala Harris is toast. I think this is what the takeaway here, ladies and gentlemen, is that Kamala Harris is absolutely toast. Breaking. Over 45,000 U.S. port workers have officially gone on strike from Maine to Texas for the first time since 1977. Currently, nearly 50,000 members of the International Longshoremen Association are on strike for the first time since 1977, stopping operations at the East and Gulf Coast ports of the United States, according to the Associated Press. The strike has disrupted the flow of many imports and exports, potentially making it one of the most significant work stoppages in decades. Dock workers began picketing shortly after their contract expired at midnight. With no agreements in sight, there's a significant gap between the union's demands and the offers from the United States Maritime Alliance, which represents foreign-owned shipping lines, terminal operators, and port authorities. The strike is expected to block the movement of a wide range of goods through nearly all cargo ports from Maine, Texas, including everything from toys and fresh fruit to furniture and clothing, household items, and European automobiles. Play.
get your stuff. If not, it's going to get worse and worse for you guys, and it's not pretty.
I'm gonna see if I can Next. Let me tell you, I'm not quite sure exactly what they're asking for, but they have time and time again, they're saying that they need to keep up with the inflation due to this administration. Now, inflation clearly is a hot topic item as far as this administration is concerned because they've been disastrous. So the fact that they continue to say, listen, it's because of inflation and among a litany of other things, they had met with their counterpart, and their counterpart agreed to increase their wages by 50%, and they denied it. Still on strike. So you can only imagine what's going to happen there. Next. CNBC, what are you hearing will happen to the dock workers strike, and if it goes longer than a week? Play.
Where have you been kind of focused and hearing on what would happen if the strike goes, let's say, longer than a week?
Again, I have not been very focused on that.
What a sick joke. Let me know when the White House is live. I wonder who's leading that press conference. It's not going to be Joe Biden, that's for sure. It's live. Let's go in. Let's tune in.
Of how long it will take to get those back online and what the administration can do to help remedy that.
So the president, as Corinne mentioned, is going to be briefed in an interagency effort. Secretary Granholm and other representatives of the Department of Energy are going to be there. It is, as am I, of course, it is a multi-phase approach. Not only do we have to bring in some additional infrastructure, but there is going to be damage and the like that it's going to take time and money to replace and reconstruct. Precise figures I don't have.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Secretary.
Thank you, Corinne. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. I do want to give some stats, some additional stats.
Nobody believes you. That's
so
the
that you
problem.
all have this. More than 4,500 personnel from across the federal workforce. That's the numbers as of today. FEMA has shipped 7.1 million meals ready to eat, more than 7.5 million liters of water, 150 generators, and over 95,000 tarps. Nearly 1,300 urban search and rescue personnel on the ground. The Department of Defense has 30 high water trucks and 22 helicopters. So just wanted to make sure you guys have that. Those are the numbers.
Is there any way that you could go back to John Kirby to see what he says?
And I just have one more thing at the top, and then.
I'm definitely not sitting here listening to this lady.
So collective bargaining, as you hear us say many times before.
Play there.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to provide a brief report on the Iranian ballistic missile attack against Israel that occurred earlier today. I can take just a few questions because this is an ongoing situation and I need to get back to my desk. Today, Iran launched nearly 200 ballistic missiles towards targets in Israel. The United States military coordinated closely with the Israeli Defense Forces to help defend Israel against this attack. U.S. naval destroyers joined Israeli air defense units in firing interceptors to shoot down inbound missiles. President Biden and Vice President Harris monitored the attack. Security team. We are still working with the IDF and the authorities in Israel to assess the impact of the attack. But at this time, and I stress at this time, we do not know of any deaths in Israel. We are tracking the reported death of a Palestinian civilian in Jericho in the West Bank.
Can you imagine?
We do not know of any
what a bad shot,
aircraft
Iran.
or strategic
Good
military
Lord.
assets in Israel. In short, based on what we know at this point,
Pause.
This attack appears.
So we had covered this on X, on Spaces, where I believe this to be geopolitics, where Iran is just showing face. They see that Hezbollah is under attack, nobody's safe. And so in an effort to kind of thwart some criticism within their borders, they end up doing this attack, which really doesn't injure anybody. But how embarrassing for Iran that the one casualty ends up being a fellow Iranian. I mean, you can't even make this up. Play.
Appears to have been defeated and ineffective. This was first and foremost the result of the professionalism of the IDF, but in no small part because of the skilled work of the U.S. military and meticulous joint planning in anticipation of the attack.
What?
We're also aware of reports of a terrorist attack in Jaffa that took the lives of a number of Israeli civilians and wounded several others
That's
today.
with the two killers, or
Our
the two
condolences
shooters.
go out to the families of the victims and to the family of the Palestinian civilian in Jericho. Obviously, my update here is based on early reports.
You're feeding
and we reserve
missiles
the right to
to
amend and adjust as
Iran,
necessary as
who's
we
then
gather more
using them to
information.
launch at Israel,
The
and then
word
you
fog of war
want
was
you
invented
want to
for a
praise the
situation
United
like
States
this.
military?
This is a
Go.
fluid situation. We will consult with the Israelis on next steps in terms of the response and
But
how
also, we're gonna
deal
keep
with what
funneling money to
has just
Iran.
done, and we will continue to monitor for further threats and attacks from Iran and its proxies. We are particularly focused on protecting U.S. service members in the region. And with that, I'll take just a few questions. Yeah.
Thanks, Jake. Is the administration making any preparations to evacuate U.S. citizens from Lebanon or elsewhere in the region?
We have been very clear for some time now that U.S. citizens should avail themselves of commercial means to depart Lebanon, given everything that's going on. We have said that from this podium, from multiple podiums. We continue to say that, but we have not begun triggering a non-combatant emergency evacuation, a NEO, and do not have an intention to do so at this time. If that changes, we'll let you know. But we continue to reinforce the point. American citizens in Lebanon should follow the guidance from the State Department, which is to find civilian commercial means to depart, because in extremis, we may not be able to get them out safely. Yes.
Thanks, Jake. What is the U.S. view on whether Israel should retaliate, and what is your concern about this leading to a wider escalation of war in the region?
We've had some initial discussions with the Israelis in the aftermath of this at the military level and also at the White House to Prime Minister's office level. We'll continue those conversations in the hours ahead. I'm not going to prejudge or get ahead of anything. We want to have some deep consultations with the Israelis, and I'll have more to report to you after we get the opportunity for deeper discussions.
And escalation in the region?
Obviously, this is a significant escalation by Iran, a significant event, and it is equally significant that we were able to step up with Israel and create a situation in which no one was killed in this attack in Israel, so far as we know at this time. We are now going to look at what the appropriate next steps are to secure, first and foremost, American interests, and then to promote stability to the maximum extent possible as we go forward. Yeah.
Back in April, the president's message to Israel was to take the win when the U.S. and Israel were able to intercept the barrage of Iranian missiles. Is he recommending a similarly limited response this time?
I will not, from this podium, share the president's recommendations. He will have the opportunity to share them directly. We're going to have, as I said, ongoing consultations with the Israelis this afternoon, this evening. It is too early for me to tell you anything publicly in terms of our assessment or in terms of what our expectations are of the Israelis or the advice that we will give them.
So will he be speaking to Prime Minister Netanyahu today?
I don't have anything to announce from this podium, but I can tell you that he is tracking this minute by minute. We are very much deeply in touch with the Israelis, and insofar as we have calls to read out, we'll make sure to read them out with you. Just last question, then I'll turn it over.
Thank you, Jake. In April, after Iran struck Israel, the U.S. issued a number of sanctions as a consequence. This morning, the president said there would be severe consequences if Iran carried out this attack. What are those consequences, and are they more severe than sanctions?
Totally legitimate question, and that answer will come based on the conversations and consultations we have with our Israeli counterparts. It's too soon for me to stand before you today and give you an answer. What I can tell you is this. We are proud of the actions that we've taken alongside Israel to protect and defend Israel. We have made clear that there will be consequences, severe consequences for this attack, and we will work with Israel to make that the case. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Jake.
Forward
Okay.
to the other man. No
On
offense
the
to
rest
females.
of- rest
Don't want to
of
listen.
Programming here.
To the other guy, please.
This morning,
Tim Traynor.
President Biden was briefed.
We do have
by
a president,
his
but
Homeland
we don't know where he's at.
I was at
Go back a little bit.
FEMA's National
Oh, this
Operations
is like
Center.
now.
We'll be there for these communities every
North Carolina.
step of the way. Now, as you can see, we also have Secretary of Homeland Security.
All right.
Alejandro Mayorkas.
Next.
Thank you, Corinne.
Forward it
Good
to
afternoon.
live, because
Before,
this is an update
standing
on
at
North
the podium-
Carolina.
There are conversations that we have and that are not necessarily. Here's what I can say. I'm not going to speak to private diplomatic conversation. I'm not going to get into that.
Okay, so you're useless.
What I
Next.
can say is that.
All right, let's
what you
keep
saw
on.
today-
Keep on keeping on with all of the content. Next. That was totally useless press conference. Thank you, White House. Statement from the president, the one that we want back in office, just released this letter on the Iranian terror regime, imminent attack on Israel. Can you enlarge it for my eyes? The world is on fire and spiraling out of control. What a way to open up a letter, huh? This guy, let me tell you something. We have no leadership, no one running the country. We have a non-existent president in Joe Biden and a completely absent vice president, Kamala Harris, who is too busy fundraising in San Francisco, a city she and Gavin Newsom totally destroyed, and staging fake photo ops. No one is in charge, and it's not even clear who is more confused, Biden or Kamala. Neither has any idea of what's even going on. When I was president, Iran was in total check. They were starved for cash, fully contained, and desperate to make a deal. Kamala flooded them with American cash, and ever since, they've been exporting terror all over. And unraveling the Middle East. Under President Trump, we had no war in the Middle East, no war in Europe, and harmony in Asia. No inflation, no Afghanistan catastrophe. Instead, we had peace. Now, war, or the threat of war, is raging everywhere. And the two incompetents running this country are leading us to the brink of World War III. You wouldn't trust Joe or Kamala to run a lemonade stand, let alone lead the free world. It's no surprise that Iran desperately wants Kamala Harris to be president, because they know as long as she's in power, they can take advantage of America. That is why they have tried to target me. Ooh, Jesus, take the wheel. If I was in charge, October 7th never happens. Russia or Ukraine never happens. Afghanistan botched withdrawal never happens. And inflation never happens. If I win, we will have peace in the world again. If Kamala gets 4 more years, the world goes up in smoke. Wow. That my soundboard is still broken. What a letter. Whoa, baby. Next. All right, Iranian president, this missile strike is a decisive response to Israel. Iranian's president, Mossad Pezeshkian, stated that the missile strikes on Israel was a decisive response and an act of self-defense. Again, geopolitics, I would assume. This is just kind of for optics. He emphasized that Iran is not after war, but will retaliate against all threats. So this is too much. This is just too much. So here they are saying the quiet part out loud. We're not really after war. We're just trying to quiet down our naysayers. Next. The fact that you could shoot so many missiles, over 200 is what the U.S. just said during the press conference. Over 200 missiles, and the one person that gets killed is a fellow Iranian. What kind of... Oh, my word. Now, look at this. This was just released. An ad from the Donald J. Trump campaign. Play.
Like us, China also saw their weakness. So did Putin. Then he invaded Ukraine. Hamas saw Harris' anti-Israel statements and will use it as a green light to keep murdering Israelis. And Iran thinks Harris is so incompetent. New intel shows they're trying to help Harris win the election. America doesn't need another TikTok performer. We need the strength that will protect us.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Anyone get goosebumps? Come on now. More of that. More of that, please. More of that. More of that. Come on. This is literally what the Trump campaign should be exclusively focusing on till Election Day. I'm not playing. Don't talk about anybody else. You don't have to talk about how senile Joe is. Stay in this lane. Holy moly. Wow, wow, wow. Trump going to another level. I mean, dare I say, that one ad is a massacre to the Harris administration. Next. Woo. Iran confirmed it informed U.S. of Israel attack before launch. An Iranian official has confirmed that Iran informed the U.S. about its missile attack on Israel before it began. So this is another kind of case in point as far as this is for geopolitics, right? You have a whole bunch of Hezbollah leaders dead. Did anyone even cover anything about the beepers exploding on Hezbollah members? We did, but unfortunately, we couldn't go live that day. And so we have an all-out attack. The numbers were crazy. Thousands and thousands of men's genitalia blown off, and all Mossad, thanks to Mossad. And so when Iran is under such scrutiny to do something, this is how they react. And again, so you should be of good cheer. I don't think, hey, Femina, what are we at in Polymarket as far as Israel's response? The reality is that Israel could respond and they could be seen and viewed just like they did with the October 7 account with Palestine, as this wicked nation, this, that, and the other, because they're not afraid to shed blood. So they could absolutely retaliate. And the likelihood is, according to Polymarket, around 27%. Because now we're getting wind that Iran was actually letting the United States know about the attack before it happened. Now you're starting to get a little bit of a kind of a look into the operation of the machine. You know what I'm saying? And so it doesn't, for me, if Israel attacks, I would say it's a less than 10% chance that Israel strikes back. It looks like, again, this is something that is going to, now it's down to 18% according to Polymarkets. So as this more information gets unveiled, we're starting to see that this was all for politics, okay? So clearly what Israel does, I'm not even gonna get into it, but the reality is that it's looking like Israel will not retaliate, in my opinion, okay? And so Polymarket shares the sentiment. Now it was at 27%, now it's at 18%. Next. If weakness could be defined by one photo, America needs Trump right now. Play. Oh, it's just a picture. Yeah, look at that. What? Bunch of just weak folk. And what is that in the back wearing the green? Next. 2019, Kamala Harris accuses Trump of trying to steal a war or start a war with Iran. Quote, in a Harris administration, we wouldn't have gotten ourselves into this mess. What mess? Can't listen to her. Next. I'm in total shock that Biden and Harris telling Iran didn't work. Let's play.
I wonder, what is your message to Hezbollah and its backer, Iran? Don't come across the border. Don't escalate this war.
Don't.
As President Biden said, just don't.
Exactly. One word. Pretty straightforward.
Is it straightforward? You dumb sack of sardines? Don't. That's not who you want leading this country. Listen, get out there and vote. Register your friends. Tell your mom, tell your dad, your kids, your wife. Tell them all. Please, vote for an administration that actually has words to say. Remember when Trump said, don't effing mess with us? Remember that? That's the kind of leadership that you want. That's the kind of leadership that I want. Don't. Give me a break. Come on now. Where's Joe Biden? Where's Kamala Harris? Who's running this country? Nobody knows. Next. Breaking, Iran launched 160 missiles on Israel. No casualties in Israel. One Palestinian in Jericho died. What? Next. Here we go. Palestinians seen celebrating and attempting to lift a fuselage of an Iranian ballistic missile that fell in the West Bank. Cover your eyes. Play. Just, I thought it was going to go a lot worse. Let's be honest. Okay. Golly. Things you shouldn't do. Good Lord. Next. All right. Breaking Israeli emergency services say 3 injured due to Iranian rockets. Probably some splinters. Next. Breaking incoming reports of the Lebanese army withdrawing from the border with Israel. Now, let me tell you, this is another indicative sign that there's really not much going to be happening. Lebanese armies are withdrawing, so basically Hezbollah is on their own. Now, if Lebanese was infiltrating the border and backing Hezbollah, then it would be a different show. Let me tell you something. It would be a very different and dire situation, but now they're like, oh, hell no, get me away from Hezbollah. They're on their own. More to come next. Breaking, a Palestinian was killed in Jericho after debris from a missile interception fell on him amid the ongoing missile attack. I mean, if you don't believe in spiritual things, shame on you. You're not living in the same planet that we're living in, okay? The curse is real. Holy moly, holy. Next. Iran's Ministry of Information, quote, the country has entered a state of war and any content in favor of the enemy and weakening the country, the government, the army, and the army is considered treason, and the managers of the channels and groups are warned to publish this content. So there you go. They're desperate at this point because it's embarrassing. What's coming out right now is just absolutely embarrassing. Next. New general election poll in Georgia. Look at this. Within the past hour, Trump gains a lead, plus 6 points. Trump 50%, Harris 44%, and continues to go down. Holy, next. New general election poll, he's up 7 points. All right, Trump 53, Harris 46. Keep an eye on that poll as the day continues, because let me tell you, it's probably only going to go higher and higher. Next. Now, in North Carolina, which was very good job, new general election poll. Now, North Carolina, one of those swing states. Let me tell you something. Harris is doing no good in California when North Carolina is up for grabs and it's flooding, okay? With no help in sight as far as FEMA is concerned. I mean, I'm sure that they just released some sort of statements, but Trump was already there. He's already there hugging and helping and supplying people with their needs. Now, this is this is just disastrous for this campaign. 49 plus 2 points. So we'll keep an eye on these polls for you. Next. No kidding, Brandon. Raw footage. Watch as Iranian missiles rain over the old city in Jerusalem, a holy site for Muslim, Christians, and Jews. This is the target of Iranian's regime, is everyone. We've already watched it, but that's coming from the IDF itself. Next. In the past couple of days, entire towns wiped out by hurricane port strikes impacting 40% of imports, Iranian missile attacks across Israel. Israel sends troops into Lebanon. Oil prices go through the roof, which I'm not privy to, but I'll take a look. And look at these two, huh? Scary. Refresh the comments. Okay, there he goes. Next. Iran missile strikes leaves crater near school in Israel. An Iranian missile out of the hundreds of launched towards Israel caused a large crater in a school in the country. Play. Let me tell you, let me remind you. No casualties. No casualties. Why? Apple. The apple of God's eye. That's why. It's crazy. Next. Iran claims over 20 F-35 fighter jets destroyed in Israel. More than 25th generation F-35 fighter jets were destroyed in the Iranian missile attack on Israel, according to Iran's claims. But we're not really listening to Iran because they're full of lies. Next. TikTok, I wonder why Iran got so emboldened. Let's take a look at some of these headlines. U.S. military equipment left behind in Afghanistan spotted in Iran, reports. So we remember covering that with the U.S. departure in Afghanistan, which was a complete disaster. They left billions of dollars worth of equipment. Next. Crazy. I'm absolutely shocked that Kamala's strategy to deal with Iran, which which she articulated so clearly here, didn't work. And of course, we're going to keep showing this on and on. Don't play it. Don't.
What's the message to Iran?
Don't.
As President Biden said, just don't.
Exactly. One word. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's because you don't have a thought in between those ears of yours. So you have to just continue to repeat what other people tell you to repeat. Okay, next. How many more things do we have here? Palestinian or Arabs in Gaza are on the streets cheering and celebrating Iran's ballistic attack on Israel, but the real joke is on them. Next. Here we go. Listen to IDF spokesman Daniel Hagari as he reveals Hezbollah's plan to conquer the Galilee and commit another October 7 style massacre. This is 11 minutes. Let's go to the next one. And maybe Iran used missiles to, quote, send a message to Israel because they don't trust phones and pagers. Very well said, Scott Adams. Next. This we've already read. Next. All right, the ports are about to be closed. War is erupting in the Middle East. Americans in a disaster area are being ignored. Our borders are wide open. Crime is a tsunami in every blue city. Vote Democrat for more of this. Play.
We did it. We did it, Joe.
Next. Just now, President Putin rushed to Kremlin for an emergency meeting at 11 p.m. tonight amid Israel's invasion into Lebanon. Let's play. Not quite sure how accurate this is, but. Next. I didn't really see much. All right. Remember when this is how we're going to end the show tonight or today. And then we're going to be back live with you at 10 o'clock. And it's going to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, 9 p.m. But we can't go live. So we're going to sort out the details because we can't go live because we can't do 2 broadcasts at one time. So what we can do is pre-record at 9 and then launch it at 10. Because the broadcast or whatever, the debate is probably going to be around an hour long. So here's to hoping that we can do a quick turnaround like that. Because we have a special guest tonight at church. SpaceX, do you remember the 2 astronauts that were stranded since June? They wanted to get them out. NASA, now NASA, using a Boeing spacecraft, right, leaves them stranded in outer space. We've been trying to cover this in Check the News for months now because since June, they left in June. This was only supposed to be a 2-week excursion. And what NASA said was, unfortunately, you're going to be stuck in space till February of 2025. So what happens? Elon Musk said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So SpaceX went out to retrieve the 2 stranded and abandoned astronauts. Let's take a look at this video footage from the moment that they were retrieved. Play.
Crew 9 now aboard the International Space Station and joining Expedition 72.
Wow. The relief that they don't have to stay there through Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. Holy moly, man. SpaceX. No, Leanne, I'm going to be doing Check the News. I'm going to be doing live an hour before we go on air. We're going to start the 40 days. Good job, SpaceX. We're going to start the 40 days of broadcasting starting tomorrow night. So I'll be live from 7 to 8 p.m., and then Pastor Jonathan and Adalis are going to be live from Texas from 8 till, I'm not quite sure, 10, 11. So you don't want to miss it if you want to tune in. We've got all these different platforms that you can watch October 2nd through the November 10th. So this is going to be 40 days, twice. Well, actually right now it's just 7 p.m. Nightly. But you don't want to miss it. Pastor Jonathan and Adalis are going to be, I'm only covering the first couple of days, and then they're going to be at the helm of this for the whole entirety of the 40 days. So it's not something you want to miss. And this is in an effort to make sure that y'all stay spiritual during some dark times ahead, okay? So this isn't something that you should be taking lightly. If you, you got to tune into the right source in order to continue the peace that you need in order to navigate these dark times. So this is the reason, and it was so interesting because it was like a spirit-led move to do these 40 days of broadcasts, because at the time, none of this stuff was happening. I mean, this literally came upon us within 24 hours. So it's interesting that the very first day of October, this kind of stuff hits the fan. You're very welcome for the coverage. Again, some good news from what we can gather just from some of the tweets that we shared with you today is that this is pretty much for optics. And so we're going to continue to cover to see what Israel does in response to this attack. But dare I say, we're probably looking at a nothing burger, okay? So please... but again, this is it will hit the fan. If we're talking about Bible prophecy, and we are, it's inevitably going to hit the fan. So stay tuned, stay connected to the source that brings you hope and light during this time. We love you guys very much. If you haven't partnered with this ministry, do so. You're never going to regret partnering with a ministry that's after souls and that's after sharing the gospel of good news. Let me tell you, the good news is the gospel, the good news of Jesus Christ. So partner with us today, and as a way for us to say thank you, you'll be getting a t-shirt, okay? And you can select whatever t-shirt you want. Show them a little bit of some of the t-shirts that we have going on. Let's get rid of this one. The Waffle House, when you hear you're not family, boom. This one's a good one, boom. Nope. No thank you. Hard pass. Then we got Kamala Word Salad. That's a great t-shirt. Next. What else we got? Trump tough. All right now. You want to go to the gym in this. I promise you do. You definitely do. All right. So here are the ways that you can partner with this ministry. Thank you, Lisa and Tara and Timothy. It's going to be a great week in Texas, Timothy. It's going to be fan-freaking-tastic. Ninja Buddha, samesies. You're welcome, Tara. We got Zelle. We've got Venmo. We've got PayPal. #donate on Facebook. Text RT to 50155. We've got tons of crypto for you to choose from. You can also scan the code there. Or you can mail in your gift. Revival Today, P.O. Box 7, Prosperity, PA 15329. If you have any questions, hit the phones, 412-446-2332. And in order for you to claim that t-shirt offer, go to revivaltoday.com/offer. One last thing before I depart. First of all, we'll be back live with you tonight. So we're still trying to figure out the logistics, but we're not missing this debate. It's going to be a bloodbath. I mean, absolute bloodbath. So, but before we leave, if you're in Texas or the surrounding area, Dr. Paul Aninchi is headed to Fort Worth. This is going to be a mega 2 nights, okay? Healing and revival crusade. Now, more than ever, do you want to cling on to the promises of God and connect yourself to ministers of the gospel at this caliber. Dr. Paul Aninchi, let me tell you, he's not around Texas very often. So you got to do what you got to do in order to be there tonight. Register at healingandrevivalcrusade.com. Femina, do you have anything for me? No? Okay. October 2nd and 3rd, 7 p.m. Central Time. You won't miss it. You won't regret it, rather. You will not regret it. Thank you guys for watching very much, and we'll see you tonight. See ya.
What's it like seeing so many Republicans in Manhattan, so many Trump supporters in Manhattan? Does that surprise you?
No, not at all. It's turning now. Trump's turn again.
What's your message to Joe Biden?
F you.
My mother says, my family
I never would have dreamed in a million years I'd see so many struggling Americans defies belief. We share the same fears and the same mountain grief. It's like a wave of desperation crashing over me. So many lives roughed up, so much anger, strain in each and every direction. I feel the pain, and straight through the radio waves, the fake news plays till it stays stuck in your head for days and days. Who would have thought biding your time, just trying to survive, just towing their line, just scraping all your nickels and dimes, that they would ruin everything and break the world like this. I kept on telling you that they would turn it all to shit. I know I hit a nerve with puppet master globalist powers, cause they lie about me every day for hours and hours, and now they're trying to bring me down with the government. I'm loving it, they built the world on bullshit, and now we taking it on. Fight in America, there ain't no hope for your kids. Fight in America, illegals and inflation shit. Fight in America, never seen crime like this. We give it everything, tell me this ain't all we get. Fight in America, there ain't no hope for your kids. Fight in America, illegals and inflation shit. Fight in America, never seen crimes like this. We give it everything, tell me this ain't all we get.
Let's go, Brandon.
You can stick your poison vaccine up your arm. You can stick your poison vaccine up your arm. You can stick your poison vaccine. Stick your poison vaccine. Stick your poison vaccine up your arm.
Why are you detaining me? You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job because you are detaining me for nothing.